So today we're gonna cut it all off. Everyone warned me against it.
Hi, my name is Jocelyn. In 2019, I bought a 38-foot sailboat and filled it with my best friends. We named her the Belafonte, and together, we're sailing the world proving that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. This is sea sondering.
We were anchored at Norman's Key and we decided to go on a hike. It's all a blur. There were so many islands. I'm sure it was a great hike.
Norman Island was cool because at the top you could see almost all the way, like 360 degrees around the island, so we could see the ocean everywhere. It was just super beautiful to check out. We left Norman's the next morning and we were sailing to Salt Islands. And before we went there, we stopped at this little snorkel spot called the Indians. And I think that was the best snorkel spot we've been in the entire British Virgin Islands. Just left Norman's Island and we are at this snorkel spot right off of it.
I think it's called Indian's Island. Not sure. It's basically a bunch of rocks. It's like a giant reef out of the water. So fish are coming our way.
We're gonna go check out the fish and then sail to Cooper Island, see Sally and Ian.
Woohoo!
It's been a good time. Sobriety has been okay for us.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see a stingray. I know Jocelyn saw one yesterday, so that's what I'm looking for.
Ooh! Big dreams, big dreams!
Dream big! It was just this amazing pinnacle kind of coming out of the water.
Picture an iceberg. So there's like the tip of it outside the water and all the cool bits, dangerous bits, are underneath the water. So at the Indians on this one side, there's just this massive wall drop off, and it's a really cool perspective. It was a really, really cool reef. There's lots to see and do, lots of caves to swim through. It was a really, actually quite interesting spot. We spent a couple hours there.
Anchored right by the snorkeling spot, and we're right at what looks like a marker or something for one of the races in the regatta right now. So all the race boats are coming right around our boat. It's really cool. Follow. Cool. From Newport.
Then from there we went to Salt Island and met up with our boat friends Sally and Ian. Sailing through the BVIs was wonderful. It was max 5 or 6 nautical miles between each island, and we could always work with the wind direction that we were given. So they were just nice, smooth sails from island to island and really enjoyable.
Salt Island, I think, was inhabited by some people at some point. But we heard something that it was the people there made salt and they didn't have to pay taxes or something. Do you remember that? I was reading about that.
I think that was a dream.
No, and the people on Salt Island, there's no one there now. I think the last person left after like the big hurricane in 2017. But from what I know, something about Salt Islands, I'm like so bad at history, but what I heard was the people living there didn't have to pay taxes, something about maybe saving people or something.
What actually happened at Salt Island is they were trying to make this like inland aquifer, so they were pumping in all of the salt water onto the land, but they didn't get their geomembrane properly constructed, so the water just kept going back into the groundwater and infiltrating into the soil, so they just had these piles of salt left over, and then they just finally gave up, and then there's just this like puddle of salt left behind.
I heard that the tale of Salt Island was quite a bit darker than what the other girls heard. It sounds like the goats got transplanted there by a shipwreck, and the goats actually ate the inhabitants of the island and then learned how to survive solely on salt crystals from the salt pond. She wants to clamor. Salt!
The cool thing about Salt Island is right off of it, there's this big shipwreck that happened, you know, maybe 100 years ago or something, and it's called Wreck of the Rhone. It's this huge ship that got broken up in a hurricane, so we went to go snorkel it.
Snorkel! My dog mom! Wreck of the Rhone! Wreck of the Rhone with our best friends. Okay, apparently it's a big sunken ship from 100 years ago.
So much of it is still preserved because it shipwrecked like right on the island, and you would think that there'd be a lot of survivors because it shipwrecked like literally on an island. But apparently maritime law is that the captain's allowed to lock the crew in the cabin if things are getting like chaotic and they like deem it safe. Good for me to know. And apparently the captain locked everyone in their cabins, all the passengers, and then the boat sank and everyone died except for one person who crawled out of a small little porthole and survived. So that was neat.
Yeah, so that changes my strategy on if we ever run into a hurricane. I am throwing Jocelyn off the boat before she can lock me up below deck. So I was told this would be a pirate ship. And then we get down there and you just see this giant propeller, and I'm like, I don't think they have that on pirate ships.
And I was like, cool, we're gonna go dive this sweet pirate ship. And it ended up being like a mail boat, like a steamboat that delivered mail, so less cool. It's still cool.
It's a pretty cool dive, but it is, yeah, like 40 feet deep, so if you can't swim, I don't recommend going.
Behind the scenes talking. Here we go, Sarah. No pressure. Looped it.
Right after Wreck of the Rhone, we buzzed off to Cooper Island for some cocktails with our best boat friends. So we've been talking about this for a while, and it was time to cut Sarah's hair. Now, she wanted to shave her head, but good friends talk good friends out of, you know, decisions like that.
For the record, I was always team shave your head.
Sarah decided to stop brushing her hair. Why, Sarah?
Because it's too much work. It's always naughty.
So, what are we gonna do, Sarah?
So today we're gonna cut it all off. It also hasn't been washed in a week. Sorry, it hasn't been washed in a week.
We're gonna cut it off. salt probably. Pieces of coral.
As you can see, it was kind of like a rat's nest. It got to the point where I didn't brush it for like 7 days. And I told a couple friends back home that I was going to shave my head on this trip because, like, what better time? You know, it's hot, having hair is challenging. Like, really, everyone warned me against it.
How many villagers does it take to brush one head?
Cooper Island actually like has this beautiful waterfront, and they've got these little stands which are really considerate if you want to wade into the water and like prop your beer on it, or if you want to prop your human friend onto it and cut her hair off.
There were lots of people wondering what we were doing. It wasn't really a hair salon that we were at. I think that all those people could use some good entertainment, and I think that's what we gave them.
Okay. Take this bowl off.
Okay.
Ready?
Today's the day I get a haircut.
You want it short?
How much do you do?
Does anyone want to make a voodoo doll of her?
Who have I wronged? Who have I wronged in my life that wants this hair?
Looks good already.
Oh, here's the technique, the hair twist. Kind of. Look at it flying in the wind. Piece de resistance. There's even a little piece of hair on it to symbolize the transformation.
Wow, it looks so precious. I'm jealous.
And just like that, in 4 minutes, I've been transformed.
Wow, you look great, Sarah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It feels so good.
We can still shave it if we
Wow.
want.
We can still shave it later. You can always go shorter, they say.
So fresh with new haircuts, we buzzed off to Virgin Gorda, and you know what happened there? Find out next week.
Next week we take baths. Just kidding. We don't bathe.